Wonderful. So, happy Wednesday, everyone. This is Chairidee Smith, Ms. Mogul. I am the host of Power Talk. I'm so delighted to have in the studio today a phenomenal woman, a phenomenal leader. You all, please get your laptop, get your lattes right now. This will be value added to your day. I have in the studio with me the phenomenal Miss Eva Medelik. You all may know her as a powerful coach in success paradigms, in leadership. Eva manages a portfolio of millions in real estate holdings, and she teaches America's leaders how to unearth the best, the most powerful version of themselves. So if you have not connected with this leader, I implore you, do yourself and your business a great service. Connect with her. So without further ado, here you are. Eva, welcome to the studio. And most importantly, welcome to Power Talk.
Oh my God, I'm so excited about this. I even got up early for you guys now because I'm on the West Coast.
It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. No, 7 o'clock in the morning.
It's 7 o'clock in the morning here.
Okay, so that's some real love, Eva.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm normally up anyway, but I'm just not camera ready.
Well, you are all things fabulous this morning. Thank you, Sunshine, for being ready and ready to speak to the audience. So we want to jump right in, Eva, because you have so much to share with the audience today. And I want to make sure that people have enough time to connect and really hear what you have to say. I introduced you as a power coach. You're certainly a successful business leader. Tell me, how do you define the relevance of EQ in today's business environment? And here is why I asked the question. There's a lot of noise and a lot of chaos, right? And traditionally, we've been taught to really lean in on IQ when it comes to business leadership. But it seems the environment is very different now. And there is now this hunger, if you will, to really understand people differently and deeply, even in business. So how would you define the relevance of EQ in today's business environment?
Well, I think it's crucial. It is absolutely essential for you to know what patterns, beliefs, and behaviors you are bringing in to all of your relationships and how you relate. And so, one of the foundation of the work that I do before we even go into high performance coaching is we look at your relationship style. How has your early life experiences shaped your habits, patterns, beliefs, and behaviors? And what are you bringing from that into your home life, your work life, in your life in your community, and how you run your business? What are your triggers? How do you control your triggers or your expectations, or how you treat other people, how you make them feel? It all has to do with those habits, patterns, beliefs, and behaviors that are ingrained in us from our early life experience that actually manifest in certain ways that you may not be aware of. And so to create that awareness of, oh, I'm reacting to her or him or this situation like this because maybe back in my, maybe I was the youngest of 9 children and never got my voice heard. So I'm triggered by this. So it's important to know what the traits are from certain relationship styles in your emotional intelligence training and how they manifest so that you can actually create an intention, a conscious commitment to shift. Does that make sense?
It sounds like becoming more self-aware is really what you're saying about us, becoming more self-actualized and more aware. When we're not aware of those triggers and that we bring that history even into the boardroom with us, we may be doing ourselves and our clients a disservice by not being totally aware of everything that comes to that meeting, that comes to that board meeting, right? So it's about becoming completely aligned and aware of who you are in a total package. Am I hearing you correctly?
And who you are being.
Yeah.
It's important to really be, I have the 4 C's. You've got to be clear, you've got to be committed, you've got to have courage, and you have to master your communication skills, in every area of your life. So who are you being? How do other people feel in your presence?
So repeat those 4 C's again, Eva, because I want people to really.
Clarity,
Yeah.
commitment, courage, and communication.
Clarity, commitment, communication, and
Courage.
courage. I love that. Look, you're speaking to a lioness, so you know I love that one. And so it's funny you would bring up the question after you gave us the 4 C's. Who are you? I did a podcast, or maybe not a podcast, a presentation yesterday about leadership versus management and how the two have been interchanged, but they're not really the same. And it's kind of what you're talking about here. When we're talking about who we are as a leader, it's being self-actualized. It's how do we manifest clarity? How do we manifest courage? How do we manifest our communication? How do we bring, what's that other one? I'm losing a C. Commitment. Oh, yeah. That's so important as a leader, right? And it's being completely aware of how people perceive you and then what you're communicating, but you have to be aware of all of that.
Yeah, you've got to be responsible. When you talk about communication, and we often fall into victim. Nobody understands me. Nobody gets me. They're doing this to me. They're being intentional. How is your communication landing? That's why you've got to be not only aware of who you are being, but you also need to be committed to know you. You need to be committed to know who you're managing, who you're leading, and how to, I like to say, prepare the soil.
That's good.
You're not going to plant your seeds in hard, rocky, weed-filled, dried soil. You're going to prepare it. And how do you do that? How do you make the other person feel seen, heard, and acknowledged and appreciated? Because we all know, if we've been in any kind of relationship, especially as a woman, the thing that will get us upset is patronizing, condescending, not being heard, not being seen. So that's why we get to be responsible for who we are being in these conversations. These conversations are difficult. So you've got to have the courage to be open, to see other people, who they are, how you can motivate them, but also be responsible for your way of being. How are you showing up in this relationship?
This is so good, Eva, and it's funny, you and I were not connected. We were not in the same space yesterday, but if I tell you, this is so aligned with the conversation I had just yesterday, and really being aware and responsible of how we communicate, right? And I asked the leaders to ask their boards, right? Ask them, who are you, right? Ask the people that you're leading to tell you how you're leading. Get their feedback. Yes. You had the question, you said something about you have to be aware of how your communication lands. Are you leading properly? Are you aware of your triggers? Are you aware of the verbal and nonverbal communication, right? Yeah. It's so easy to fall into victimization, but we have to switch that and become responsible. So ask the hard question. Yeah. What did you hear me say?
Yeah, exactly.
What did you hear me say? Because I can think that I'm saying something and I'm communicating efficiently and I think I'm bullseye, but how it lands can be something totally different from what I intended. So as leaders, we have to be courageous enough and committed enough to ask those questions. What did you hear me say?
Yes.
And then deal with all of our internal ish so that ish does not come and then taint what we're hearing. Right.
Exactly. And also when, on the flip side of that, when you are communicating with me, I get to be responsible and say, this is what I heard you say.
Right. I own it.
Did I get that? Did I get that right?
Right.
And then it's our responsibility when someone repeats back what they heard and it's not accurately what we wanted to portray to them. It's our responsibility to shift so that our communication lands. And let me try this again. Let me say this in a different way. That was not my intention. So thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah.
Let me try it in a different way. And that's when these misunderstandings are lessened.
That's good.
And we get to really have open, honest communication that creates, and you'll hear me say this all the time, win-wins and
Yes.
solutions, and
Yeah.
not a win-lose, not I'm going to dominate, I'm going to win, it's my way or the highway. We get to be more collaborative.
And that win-lose is such an old model. It
I
just does not work well, right?
Obviously, if you look at our government, obviously.
Look, and I had to lean in on that one.
Yeah, lean in on that one.
Absolutely. And so you bring up a good point, and I want to kind of switch the conversation. So what do you, okay, as a leader who trains other leaders, what do leaders most misunderstand about the EQ and its importance in a thriving environment? We just talked about the win-lose versus the win-win model. What do leaders most misunderstand, though, Eva, about EQ and how to move the business environment in a positive direction?
Well, I think, and this has just been my experience, you will often hear people go straight into what's not working and what's wrong, what's not working and what's wrong. And they don't take the time to start with the very basics. And this, you'll find this in all of your relationships: acknowledgement and appreciation.
Absolutely.
Acknowledgement and appreciation.
Absolutely.
Start with what's working. Start with the wins. Have people feel a sense of not dread, but excitement. This is not all going to be horrible. And literally create win-wins. Learn how to be clear in what you're communicating. Be committed to having an outcome that's a win-win and not my way or the highway. You know, there's a lot of people whose egos are bruised.
For sure.
But there is disagreement. And so I would say leave your ego out of it. Leave your feelings out of it and stick with facts, because feelings are amateur.
Oh, wait, stop. So I need for everyone who's listening to write that down. Feelings are amateur.
In business.
So is there a higher way then of dealing with our emotions? How do we then move from that emotional space where it can become toxic very easily and become damaging or counterproductive? How do we move from that?
Well, that is the foundation of the work that I do. I'm aware of what those triggers are and why those feelings are coming up in you.
Yeah.
So you've got to make that connection with your habits, patterns, beliefs, and behaviors, and the feelings that elicit when someone says or does something, or your ego needs to be true. So that literally is the foundation of the work to becoming a high performance leader, a business leader, a leader in your house, a leader in your job, a leader in your communities, is to really get a handle of those feelings and find out why they are coming up. Because you may have triggered that feeling in me, but it wasn't your intention in this conversation to piss me off. Right. It may be a feeling that reminded me of something in my earlier experience that I had in my life that gives me that same feeling. But if I'm not emotionally intelligent enough, I'll take that out on you. I'll project that on you as if you were the one that caused the feeling.
You're such a therapist.
No,
but what
that's why you need emotional intelligence, because you've got to separate fact from feelings. Know your feelings, acknowledge them. Thank you. Fear is a feeling, for instance.
Yes.
Fear's job wants to protect you.
Yes.
And so make friends with it. Don't try to get rid of it. Thank you. I appreciate you not wanting me to present my ideas in the borrowed room, but I got this. My ideas are important. My ideas are valid, but I appreciate you really wanting to keep me safe and small so that I don't get hurt. And that's why you got to get in touch with your feelings. You know, the disappointment and hurt is temporary.
Yeah.
It is. It's fleeting.
But you bring up something that's important, and I don't think leaders have, particularly women. So let's just deal with our population. I don't think we've ever embraced that fear could be a friend. we've been taught that in order to be strong, in order to be heard, in order to be effective, we had to absolutely dismiss that emotion, completely dismiss it, right? And almost, I'll just speak personally, and almost act with a sense of reckless disregard for fear in hopes of just being powerful in the moment or being heard in the moment. So that's so counter what you just stated, to know that fear is a friend and it's there to protect me, but I have to manage fear. Don't dismiss it, manage it, right?
Take action anyway. And that's the courage piece.
Yes.
That is the courage piece, because the more you practice that, the more courageous the act is to talk to your fear, to thank it, to appreciate it. And then it's less scary. And then that's how your confidence builds. Because, you're not going to do anything reckless, like, jump off a cliff or in front of traffic. That fear is really to protect your life. But we have process fear. We have outcome fear. We have fear of change. We have the fear of the unknown. There's so many levels to our fear. So it's important to recognize it, name it, and, really just state the facts. Like, will this kill me? Probably not.
Probably not.
But really just to, acknowledge your feelings. Your feelings get to be acknowledged. However, you still get to take action, and you still get to act as a professional. And
I didn't mean to jump in there, but you said something that kind of excited me, and I wanted to make sure I shared this before I forget about it. Fear really is an indication of something big on the other side of it. You said we acknowledge the fear, but then we take action in spite of it. And as you were saying that, what I heard you say is fear is there, but for me, it's an indication of something really big on the other side. And it takes courage to pursue the big thing on the other side of fear. It's not always to crush or demean or to keep you small. Sometimes fear could be an indication of, wow, this is so much bigger and so much better of what I've had in the past, and the fear of success, right?
That's exactly what I was thinking, girl. You read my mind, because we always think of it as fear as failure, making a mistake.
What about if you're successful, though?
Yeah. Our education system has set us up to be afraid of the failure, to be afraid of mistakes, because we get punished. We don't get the good grade, and we take it personally. We feel, bad or shamed because we didn't score high on a test, or, we didn't get promoted, or whatever that looks like in school. We are literally trained to be afraid of failure. And if you start to look at failure as a way is that I'm doing something, I learn more from a failure than I do from a success. You learn so much from a failure, so you fail forward. All right, that didn't work, and then you debrief. If we're talking to business people, what worked, what didn't work, won't do that again. I'll try it this way next time. And that's all. It's just facts. Just look at it as facts, and don't take it on as guilt or shame or making it about you. It just
That's good. That's good. So you said something, and it made me think of a quote from W.E.B. Du Bois. He says that we're not fear, and I'm paraphrasing the quote. We're not afraid of failure, he says. He says our fear is really that we're bigger than we thought we are.
Yeah.
Or than we know we are. That's really the fear. It's that fear that maybe I am bigger than what my environment says, or what my experience says, or what my education says. Maybe I am bigger than that. So
that's scary. I'm going to just say it. That's scary.
Yeah.
Bigger than, and I know you and me, we both think we're big, but I still think we're bigger than what we even think we are.
I don't think we've tapped into it. I don't really believe. And science has told us we only use about 10% of our brain matter. I don't know whatever happened to that other 90%. But scientists say that we only use about 10% of our brain. I don't know why that is. But Eva, if we were to tap into the genius of us really, and become so aligned with our purpose and with our calling and with the most powerful version of ourselves. You know, people have different spiritual beliefs, and I won't go into all of that. Mine is God, Jehovah God. And so for me, when I'm completely aligned with, if he's infinite, and then if I believe I'm infinite, what am I really capable of, right? Mm-hmm. So have I really been playing too small? That grips me. When I think I've come up with the most genius plan in the world, and then I go back and I remember I have a source of infinite knowledge and wisdom. Am I playing too small? Fear can grip you there, right? Yeah. So sometimes it's, and I want to challenge leaders who may not be afraid of failure, but you're afraid of being bigger than what you thought you were. That part, you know, that part. That takes the brakes off, that knocks the wheels off. And so it really challenges us then, Eva, and I guess you can tell you done tapped in. Eva. But that then challenges us, Eva, to then look at the people who are around us. And I'm a big proponent of succession plans and mentoring and excavating greatness out of other people. So if I am a source of infinite wisdom and infinite possibility, then who around me is playing too small? And are they in some way inhibiting the growth of this bigger thing? And this is the key, have I enabled them to be small? That. Yeah. Now, I don't know about you, but when I said that statement, I had a jolt of energy hit me in my heart. Have I enabled someone to play small because I'm not completely in tune with who I am?
That's where the inspiration and being a true leader. I mean, I remember, you know, my thing is relationships. That's my jam. Yes, I remember saying to my husband one day, because I'm the more driven of the two of us, I just love what I do, and I could, you know, you really have to pull me off sometimes, but I also, you know, love my life and my relationship. But I remember there was a time where we were struggling in the relationship because of the impact that my drive had on the relationship. And I remember saying to him one day that I was going to fight for his greatness and the greatness that I see in him. And I'm not going to watch him fight for his limitations.
Oh, wait. Everyone, that deserves a moment of silence to just kind of soak that in. Oh my God. So what an act of love, warrior love. Now, I don't know where that term came up, but you know, I'm a lioness, so that stuff just comes up.
You know, you got two lions here, right, baby?
Okay, come on, Lioness. Roll with me. But for you to tell the man you love, I will fight for your greatness, and I'm going to fight against your fight to be safe, to be the same version of yourself. I see so much more in you that it's worth me irritating you. It's worth the fight for you to be the greater version of yourself.
You know, you've been mentored, and you've been coached. And when your coach sees your greatness and believes in you, what does that do internally to your level of responsibility?
Eva?
Like, I'm not going to let this mentor down. They see something in me. The reason why I'm doing what I do right now is because one of my earlier real estate mentors saw more in me than I saw in myself.
Yes.
And that stuck with me. I'm like, somebody sees that in me. And I remember asking my husband, I was coaching a gentleman who literally called himself a serial cheater. And I went to my husband because we had infidelity in our marriage, and we had broken through to the other side. And I remember asking him, because I don't bring up the past, but I said, I need you to help me support this man. What was it that made you stay and not leave me for the other woman? And one of the things he said to me, he said, the way you took a stand for me, for us, our love and our relationship, it's like no one has ever stood for me as hard as you stood for me. So who we are being.
Yeah.
Are we the type of leader who stands for the greatness in people, who points out their limitations as if they can't overcome them?
Eva, this is so important. And I'm getting a little bit of feedback. I'm not sure what that is. This is so important because we think that leadership only has its place maybe in the boardroom, right? But that leadership is transcendent, is what you're telling me. For you to bring that same attitude, the same way you would fight to scale a multi-million-dollar real estate business portfolio, is no less than the fight you bring to the marriage or to your relationships or to your mentoring. It's about challenging people to be the highest, most powerful, most actualized version of themselves. Les Brown said this. Les Brown says, sometimes you have to believe in what other people believe about you until you can believe it about yourself. And that's what essentially I heard your husband say. Because you believed in me more than I could believe in myself, I'll believe now. And sometimes as leaders, the people around us really do have to lean and borrow our faith, right? They borrow our faith until they can believe it for themselves.
That's why you have to bring the energy.
Yeah. And all of that goes back to those 4 C's that we talked about as well, right?
Yeah.
The communication, the clarity, the commitment, the courage, all of that comes back into play. Even in your marriage relationships, your business relationships, your mentoring relationships, all of it comes into play. And I figured this would happen talking to you. I just didn't know it would happen like this because we have missed so much of what I wanted to ask you. But I think this is in the same vein of what I was talking about yesterday. So evidently there is a sovereign plan, right, for this kind of communication to get out. Eva, I want to ask you a question in closing. If you had the opportunity to have an intimate, and by God, you've had it today, to have an intimate one-on-one meeting with every leader who secretly feels what they're doing right now is not enough, or they feel bewildered, right? Or there's a conflict between doing the best for the people versus the best for the company. How would you advise them?
Well, I would advise them to literally, I would say, create win-win solutions. It's really be, do, have. And it starts with who you are being. And I would also, really activate generous listening.
Oh, write it down, everybody. Love that one. Love that one.
Activate generous listening because you know what? If you really want to create a both and in your life and not an either or. See, a lot of us go about success with sacrifice. My program is called Success Without Sacrifice.
That's good.
How you do one thing is how you do everything. So there's no reason why, if there's too much on your plate, you just get a bigger plate, honey. And so you create a both and. How can we create a win-win? And collaborate. Talk to your people. If you are really in that situation where, you know what, get suggestions from people. How can I support you? What do you need from me? And share what you need from people too. It also goes into that honest communication about, I need support in this area. And I would just say, really work on listening, collaborating, and really be hell bent on being a solution seeker. I mean, that's what real estate is anyway. We find solutions as an investor for other people's problems.
Absolutely.
And we don't want to, you help enough people get what they want and you'll get what you want. I think that was Zig Ziglar.
Yeah.
But, you really have to have that attitude that who you are being in your process of doing so that you can have those win-wins, those both ands.
So what I heard you say in closing is that this is really about developing an abundance perspective to life. It's not win-lose, it's win-win. It's not either or, it's both and, or all and. And I love the analogy of, if your plate is too small, get a larger plate. That's the abundance perspective that we talked about. And that is so key, whether you're a real estate investor, whether you're a success coach and mentor, whatever your sphere of influence is, or whatever your industry is, having an abundant, especially now, having an abundance perspective to business. Everyone at the table can win, because I'm a solutions driven leader.
Yeah.
I look for the opportunity to create those win-wins for everyone sitting at the table. So no one goes away empty, even if, in my case, right, it's real estate investing, your case, real estate investing. Let's just say someone loses their house. Unfortunately, we're going to see that in the upcoming market. I strongly believe that. But because we're solutions based, we'll find a way to still house the population, meet the needs of our shareholders, our stakeholders, right? Still provide a quality of life for our customers and profit from it. So it's about creating what I love to call, Eva, a cornucopia of
there you go. There you go.
It's a cornucopia. Everybody at this table can eat and be full and be nourished. And I figured my time would leave. And my God, we have to have another conversation, because I feel you. I really appreciate you. And I want you to tell us right quick before you have to go. You have a spectacular gift for our listeners today. What is that gift, Eva?
Oh, girl, it is 6 powerful ways of being to foster effective communication and connection.
Was that not the theme of the day?
That is the theme of the day. And it is a guidebook. And it really is the handbook that I use in all of my difficult conversations, easy conversations, connecting conversations. And so, you know, it's just at my website, evamedelik.com, or you can do /PWOB for powerful ways of being, because these ways of being will bring that power into your life as a leader.
So also we will post that in the show and in all of the comments. We'll make sure that we connect listeners to that gift. And if you would like to connect with Eva again, one more time, Eva, give us your website and how people can connect with you.
It's evamedelik.com. It's my first and last name, or you can just email me at eva@evamedelik.com.
Awesome. And we'll make sure that that information is in the comments as well. Eva, I'm going to end this as Les Brown would. This has been my plum-pleasing pleasure to host you on today. It has been insightful. It's been thick. It's been challenging. It's been refreshing, and it's been inspiring as well. I appreciate you for listening and for being on the show today. And I appreciate all of you who are listening literally around the world right now to these conversations with America's powerful leaders. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Chairidee Smith. I am Miss Mogul. If you'd like to contact me or work with me, please go to MommiesCreatingEconomies.com. That's with an IES, MommiesCreatingEconomies.com. I'd be happy to talk to you about your real estate deal. If you need mentoring of any kind, I love excavating the best out of our leaders. I am so good at that. Would love to work with you in that. Also, if you'd like to connect with the community, just text MoguL-U, MoguLU, to 26786. Opt into the community, and we will provide a gift for you as well. So if you have not again, connected with Eva, please go to her website, connect with her community. This woman will give you full octane. We just have 30 minutes here. So can you imagine what a session is with Eva? My God, you'll be coming out. We'll walk on water when you come out of Certainly, you'll be energized. You'll be aligned with your purpose, your goals, your motives. And I can guarantee you, you will be a better person and leader for it. So with all my love, thank you for being here this morning, Eva.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And I send love to everyone who is out there listening today. Go be a better, more powerful version of yourselves. Goodbye for now.